Ladies and gentlemen, the pleb is back. In today's report, Joe Rogan goes nuclear on Mark Carney and goes as far as saying that he's an illegitimate prime minister. Also tonight, Mark Carney has a complete meltdown over a basic question from the CBC, and leftists on X are now trying to cancel Rosemary Barton. You won't want to miss this report. Stick around. Before we start this report, if you like conservative news here on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please smash the subscribe button, because on this channel, we make fun of the ridiculous left. Welcome to your Tuesday report. We're going to have an action-packed show here today with leftist meltdowns to Mark Carney melting down, but we're going to start off today's show with Joe Rogan, who had some rather interesting things to say about Canada's new unelected Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and even he realizes that Mark Carney is not the legitimate leader of Canada.
We got to become friends with Canada again. We have to, like, you know,
right.
I'm down.
This is so
Love
ridiculous.
Canada.
I can't believe that there's like anti-American and anti-Canadian sentiment going on. It's the dumbest fucking feud.
There it is.
That's nuts. Look at the water consumption.
Is there?
That's
He's right. It looks stupid on both sides. This trade war is a complete clown show.
crazy. Right when
I
the
love on this
bathrooms
pod where
go.
if I say something, I got to be ready for you guys to fact check my ass.
Jamie's ready.
Is there anti-Canadian sentiment?
Yeah, there's a lot of idiots that now think that they're our fucking enemy.
Okay.
That why are we subsidizing Canada?
Right.
Well, how come they don't have their own military? Well, they don't. So let's just like deal with it as it is.
You know, Trudeau is out, right? He's leaving. I
They
feel
got
like
a new guy who's just as bad.
Joe Rogan knows they have a new guy who's just as bad. He's right.
Who's just as bad.
Same
thing.
But
they got a new party. 150 people voted. Now they have a new guy running the country. But
he gets it. 150. Sorry for pausing, guys, but even Joe Rogan says it right here. Like 150 people voted, and now we have a new government. Joe Rogan realizes this liberal leadership race was a complete joke. He's not the real leader of Canada.
150 people voted. Now they have a new guy running the country. But their whole election system is so different. They don't have like a specific time when they have elections, and so
they can call an election, and I think it happens within 3 weeks.
The whole thing is so crazy, and so I don't know what's happening with their politics. But I just want America and Canada to get along. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's as someone who's from Ann Arbor, Michigan, you know,
and I don't really think they should be our 51st state. There, I said it.
That you said it? He's on record.
It would be fun if it happened. It would be fun. I think Greenland's more accessible.
Yeah.
We could probably buy that.
Yeah.
If we want a 51st state, it's Greenland. Plus, if global warming is real because of all the digging and oil and all that shit, you know, it'd be good to have a cold spot to eventually warm up.
Even Joe Rogan knows what a mess our political situation is here in Canada and how illegitimate Mark Carney is as a prime minister. I mean, 150,000 people voted for him. What is that? 0.5% of the Canadian population decided who the new prime minister is? Mark Carney's not the prime minister of Canada. He's the Liberal Party leader, and that's what I'm going to call him until the next election. In our next story of the night, we're going to talk about Mark Carney's press conference yesterday because it was such a bloody disaster that Mark Carney literally melted down at the first normal question a friendly CBC reporter asked him. And before we play this clip, I just want to hype it up a little bit to you guys because this press conference was so bad that the most dedicated liberals on X are now asking Mark Carney to no longer do press conferences. Look at this from Vicky Campbell. Carney needs to stop giving pressers, start ignoring the Canadian media, okay, and call an election. Enough of the conservative bullshit. Okay, press conferences are conservative bullshit now. in which BK Belton replies, agreed. So without further ado, here's a clip of Mark Carney melting down that has the entire left on social media melting down today. Now look at how Mark Carney moves his hands around when he's lying, okay? This is a pattern that I've recognized with this guy.
I'm complying with the rules in advance. Point final.
Are you saying you are not open to any conflict of interest?
Yes.
Trump spent most of his life in the private sector. There's no possible conflict of interest in your assets. It's very difficult to believe.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary. I mean, you start from a
Look, what a line. Look inside yourself, Rosemary.
I mean, you start from a prior of conflict and ill will. I have served in the private sector. I have stood up for Canada. I have left my roles in the private sector at a time of crisis for our country.
I stood up for Canada. You moved your business out of the country the second Trump won the election. You haven't lived in Canada in 10 years. How are you standing up for Canada? This dude's a fraud.
I'm complying with all the rules. Your line of questioning is trying to invent new rules. I'm complying with the rules that Parliament has laid out and the responsibilities of the Ethics Commissioner. And I will continue to comply with those rules.
Comply. That sounded to me like a normal question that Pierre Poilievre would get at any single press conference he hosted. But the left, the reaction from the left is absolutely priceless over this, as they have gone into a full meltdown over the CBC asking what appears to be a normal question. Our first comment comes from Bill Rice, who writes, "Did you go too far this time, Rosie? If anyone would like to lodge a formal complaint about Rosemary Barton's unprofessional conduct," and puts a link to the CRTC. The Liberals are literally starting a petition over a question at a press conference. Or how about this one from Nan Douglas? "Rosemary Barton needs to find a new job. I will now boycott CBC whenever Rosie is on the air and will text my strong opposition to having her remain with the CBC. Please join me." Over a question. Babs writes, "Rosemary Barton implied that Prime Minister Carney was lying on national television. Fire her." Jason writes, "Rosemary Barton putting her utmost effort to ensure we have a MAGA government here." What? "I'll never forgive her for the early days of the convoy and her apologist bullshit towards it." They're not handling this well, folks. Integrity writes, "Rosemary Barton crossed the line. She should be removed, CBC News." And they're not stopping. Buffy Woods is like, "You can lodge an official complaint against Rosemary Barton here," with a link to the CBC ombudsman. Did we just convince the left to defund the CBC and all it took was a CBC reporter asking a fair question to Mark Carney? Hey man, I'll take it. But we all know how ridiculous these leftists truly are here in Canada, and nothing quite displays it. Like the Liberal Party of Canada now bragging that Mark Carney canceled the carbon tax. They're actually putting out communications material on this and bragging that they canceled the carbon tax, when literally just months ago, they were posting about how Pierre Poilievre was going to take away their rebates. And it only took 3 days for the Liberals to completely backpedal on getting rid of the carbon tax, as Mark Carney yesterday at his disastrous press conference tried to make a pitch to Canadians about his new tax that is going to replace the carbon tax.
Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the European Union? Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the United Kingdom? Guess what one of the requirements will be to diversify trade to emerging Asia? Is to have a form of price on carbon.
Here we go.
So we are able to think one step ahead. We're able to go out and see the world. We're able to help Canadian companies prepare. And you know what's going to happen 5 years, 10 years from now? If I have the pleasure of being in front of you, you'll be asking me the question, if we didn't do this, if we didn't help our companies get more prepared, the Americans are going to start caring about this again.
He is used car salesman, complete scammer. This guy's a scammer.
They have elections every 4 years. They cared a great deal about this 3 months ago. Now all of a sudden they don't care about it. They're going to care about it again. We have an enormous opportunity here in Canada. The United Kingdom has an enormous opportunity. France.
Taxing Canadians should never be called an opportunity. Paying more taxes is the opposite of an opportunity. What the hell is he thinking?
Has an enormous opportunity. Europe has an enormous opportunity to leapfrog over American companies where they're trying to turn back the clock and look inwards. We're going to take that opportunity.
Unreal. So yes, folks, when the Liberal Party brags that Mark Carney got rid of the carbon tax, laugh in their faces because he's bringing a new tax on Canadians. No taxes are going away. It's all just one giant scam. And in our last clip of the night, Mark Carney is at it again with his when asked about what his expectations would be with a call from Trump. Mark Carney just mumbles and says and makes noises and makes no sense. A sure sign that Mark Carney is lying. What the hell is Mark Carney wearing here? What is this? Who dresses Mark Carney? Just look at his face. Negative energy. Let's get through this. Let's get through the mumbles.
You will have a call with President Trump in the coming days. What are your expectations for the president in that call?
I think, let me say a few things. The first is that the President of the United States, the Prime Minister of Canada, but certainly the President of the United States has many responsibilities, and there are many issues. I can think of many geostrategic issues that the President is helping to lead on. And you can think of events most recently in with respect to the Houthis and all the way through to trade and other aspects. So there's a wide range of issues to be discussed when we do connect.
It's so painful to listen to this guy talk. Oh my, it's so painful.
With respect to trade, I look forward to, at the appropriate time, having a discussion as two sovereign nations that is comprehensive, not targeted at one issue.
Wow. If they should have a new torture method at Guantanamo Bay. Send the terrorists in a cell and make them listen to Mark Carney talk. And I swear to God, they will spill the beans. There's nothing worse than listening to this man try to speak. You want to know why I know Mark Carney is lying? And it's the same thing as Trudeau. They both do this. The pausing, look, when you are lying, it requires more brain power to think about your lies as you're lying. If Mark Carney was actually saying the truth, he would not be mumbling. He would not be pausing. Trudeau, the exact same thing. And when you listen to Pierre Poilievre speak, I don't hear this guy mumbling, going, ever. And that's why I trust Pierre Poilievre. And I don't trust these liberals who can't even string a friggin' sentence together because they're too busy trying to think about their lies in the moment. I'm happy that people are starting to realize that Mark Carney can't speak. He's a terrible public speaker. But what I'm realizing is that he is a liar. I'm noticing the patterns, Here's an 8-second clip of Mark Carney from the press conference, unedited. And here's another tell, if you want to know that he's lying. Look at the way he moves his hands. Just look. Look.
prior of conflict and ill.
Look how he's moving his hands here. This is when he's bullshitting, okay? But the you know a lie is coming. This is 8 seconds unedited. I won't even pause it. Watch.
A prior of conflict and ill will.
See? He's like you can tell this guy is lying because it doesn't require any brain power to tell the truth. You just speak the truth. But Mark Carney's brain is processing the lies. You can see it.
A prior of conflict and ill will.
Here comes the next lie. Do you guys see that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? This guy is a serial liar. Anyways, folks, that's it for today's report. I hope you guys had fun watching today's show, but I want you guys to tell me in the comments, do you agree with Joe Rogan that Mark Carney is a illegitimate, unelected prime minister? I'll read all the comments, so tell me in the comments down below. Also, when Mark Carney starts going, do you think he's lying? Or do you think he just can't speak? I want to hear your feedback in the comments. If you guys enjoyed today's show and you want to support me, you already did by watching this video, but if you want to support me more, like the video, buy a membership, subscribe to my channel. My name is The Pleb, and I'll see you at the next report. Peace.
Binds us together is the Canadian promise that anyone from anywhere can do anything, that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful house on a safe street, wrapped in the protective arms of a solid border defended by brave soldiers under a proud flag. To preserve that flag and its promise, we must work together, fight together, and win together. That is what it means to put Canada first.